Okay, so today we are taking a look at the new ISC Reflex. As you can tell, this device is very similar to the Petzl Zigzag in the way that it has these links, just like a Zigzag does. But what makes this device special is that it's midline attachable. It can function single rope or stationary rope as well without the implication of a rope wrench or like a chicane or something like that. It can work just as is, and it's just all around good. The way that it uses friction is a little bit different than the Zigzag. There's actually a friction plate in here that we're going to take a look at once we take it off the rope. But it uses the plate and the pulley friction similar to like the Rope Runner Pro or other devices like that. So yeah, let's take it off the rope so you can see how it is attached. One thing to note is when taking this on and off the rope, you cannot have this top carabiner in the hole because it won't allow the plate to slide. But essentially it is a plate, and you have a series of links that you unwrap. If any of you are familiar with the Unisender, it is very similar in that way too. So basically, this is what you have, is this. And you have a spring at the top, just like this. This is a key inspection point. Make sure that that's functioning and grabbing. But also, you have the friction plate and the pulley, like I said. And as you sit into this, see how that pulley actions? As you put weight into the system, it allows more friction on the plate. And it's really cool once you put this thing into stationary rope. You're going to see how that really functions. So first, like I said, let's get to some inspection points. You want to take a look at this, make sure that the spring is working fine. You want to check these links for any cracks or anything, or any excessive wear on, they're not really bollards, but we'll call them bollards for the sake of the video. We also want to take a look at this grommet hole here. Now these two holes here are similar to the Zigzag in fashion. You can use either one of these holes. They're both rated. This one is not rated. This is an attachment point for ascending SRS. But you can use either one of these holes here for life support. So the manual says that this hole here with this rubber grommet is actually the more optimal hole for moving rope. I will tell you from experience now with this for a few weeks that this hole is way tighter to get a carabiner into, but it does function a little bit better. So if you're quick on and off, you don't feel like fighting with this hole or making sure your carabiner's in there correct, this hole might be the better hole for you to use. But we want to check this grommet here, make sure it's not all wore out or cracked. We also want to check the functionality of this button here, which is what sandwiches the whole device together and keeps everything closed. This device only comes with a swivel, unlike the Zigzag that comes without a swivel. Apparently there's talk of them adding different attachment points in the future, but you are able to take this swivel off. And how you do that is you hold that friction plate up and you can take this off. So not only can you inspect it, if you wanted to keep this on your bridge at all times in place of like a ring or something, you could do that if you wanted to. And then just, this could be your clip-on, saving you space of a carabiner. That's not really my climbing style, but I know some people like the idea of that. But yeah, so let's go ahead and put it back on the rope, and we will take a look at how it hangs in moving rope and how it hangs in stationary rope. So putting it on, just like taking it off, you just weave it between the links. I'm really fumbling my hand play here, so that probably doesn't look the best, but this is how it should look afterwards. There was some talk online about people, when putting this on at the expo and stuff, missing a link, meaning that they were putting it here and somehow they were crossing it up. The way that I think about it when I'm putting it on is once you get over this fair lead piece here, to put it in the link that's towards you. So my rib's gonna come towards me, and then I'm gonna weave it in and out. And these arrows are a good indicator as well to let you know that that's the rope and you're going in the correct way. So you got that indicator there, it says up. Those arrows should match those arrows there. If it's installed correctly, that's what it'll look like. So let's hop on at moving rope, see what that looks like. Like I said, this device only comes with a swivel, so you'll see me running my swivel sideways there, which it is rated to do. Maybe we'll talk about that in another video. But if I was to have this, obviously, this doesn't really matter for the device. But if I was to have this on my swivel, it doesn't really hurt anything. It just makes it kind of pointless because this carabiner can spin around, which I guess is kind of cool. But, you know, I can clip it like that, or on my second bridge, I just have a ring that I clip it to. Yeah, so this thing in moving rope sits like this. The way that you control this is very similar to a zigzag, where I'm gonna wrap my fingers around the links, and we use my fingers to control my descent. Also similar to the zigzag, where I'm gonna pull myself. This, I have found, doesn't tend the slack as well as a zigzag does, meaning, sorry, let me rephrase that. It tends to slack very well. What it doesn't do is automatically capture progress as well as the zigzag. I have had it to where it does, and I'll pull down certain stances, coming back from limb walks and stuff, to where it'll do it, but just touching it, it tends itself just fine. But I really enjoy the friction plate like a rope runner. I feel that I can get a lot of control out of my descent because it takes a lot of the heat out of the links and puts it onto the plate. Moving rope specifically, yeah, so that I really enjoy that. So how it's orientated in moving rope is like this. When we put it in stationary rope, we get a little bit more of the bottom of it tilting back. And just like I was talking about with the friction plate, that is adding just a little bit more friction than it would be if this was pulled up by another carabiner. That's why these holes, I imagine, were designed where they were, and why this is the more optimal hole. But in this fashion, I can run it just like this, SRS, and work the tree, and it functions properly. I've been running it for a week now, and in some prunes, and some removals, both moving rope and stationary rope, and I have zero complaints about its functionality on moving rope or stationary rope. Also, a cool fact about this device is this device is rated for a 2-person load, meaning that in a rescue situation, if somebody's gear was compromised in a way that I couldn't descend on their system that they had in the tree, I can absolutely hook them in some way, shape, or form to this device here, even right off this same swivel here. I can clip it right to their harness, and we can both, and then we can get rid of their system entirely. We're both hanging off of this device here, as long as obviously our anchor is good for 2 people, and we can come down on this device, both moving rope or stationary rope, still without a wrench, down to 11mm rope. Some of you guys are gonna hear what I just said, and it's gonna sound like I'm speaking another language. But for the ones that know, that's pretty awesome. There's not really another device that we are going to see normally in our day-to-day tree work practice that does this. So I think that is where this device shines as well, is definitely its application in aerial rescue. So yeah, I think this device is really cool. It's been awesome to run this for a few weeks, and if this thing's brand new, I don't think that we have any in the company right now. If you're planning on getting this, talk to me about it. If you've got any questions, ask me. I think it's an awesome piece of kit. If you like the zigzag and or the rope runner, you're going to love this thing. Yeah, so, yep, that's been the Reflex by ISC, and it's another tool for the toolbox.